Hey guys, I'm going to talk about in this video an update on the steroid shortage information, and there's some new information that just came out regarding that, and but I'm going to explain to those of you who don't know what's going on, kind of the whole story. As far as I know it, there's still some speculation on what's actually going on because it's coming out of China, these chemicals and the raw powders, the raw steroid powders. So, what's really going on in China is kind of anybody's guess, but there seems to be some idea of what's actually going on. So first of all, there's a shortage of compounds, particularly Masteron and Primobolan, because there's only a handful of companies in China that produce these, synthesize these compounds, the raw powders. And interesting enough, I looked into this at one time, that some of these companies, just curious of what these companies do. And they also manufacture a whole bunch of other things like kitchen supplies, industrial equipment, lots of different types of things, okay? Anyway, so some of these companies, I guess, were pressured by the Chinese government to either they were shut down or they made making these compounds illegal to make. Okay, specific things illegal to make. Now, this has been known now for some time, and the idea was that they were making steroids illegal. Naturally, it's like a drug, it's a schedule, whatever. So my idea at the time was that they're making some drugs like these, DHT steroids, illegal for whatever reason, for at least X to produce. Before, from my understanding, they could produce it, but they couldn't sell it within China. They had to sell it internationally. That's why anybody like you or me could order kilograms of raw powder and then brew our own steroid in oil. But now even that is being jeopardized. And so the idea that I'm trying to get at here is that the idea was that a lot of people had is they just were making steroids legal. Well, that may or may not be the total picture. There might be other factors involved, which is some of these companies may also be producing the precursors to a lot of the really dangerous narcotics that are flooding the United States, such as fentanyl and the tranq and other things like that. So, for whatever reason, maybe it's because of Trump putting pressure on China to shut these things down, or they just decided themselves. I don't have the answer to that, but this is just kind of speculation too, that they're shutting down the precursor, these companies that are making the precursor chemicals to this, at least the means upon which they could do it. And there's also something that I saw in this podcast, they were speculating, is that it might share some of the same precursors to actual steroids. Like to make fentanyl, there might be at least the process involved. There might be a similar thing in the process. So potentially that could be another factor, not maybe the main factor, but another factor as well that's correlated to this. So the end result, what downstream is a lot of the underground labs, the UGLs in Europe, United States, etc., have a shortage of these compounds. And I've experienced this myself. My trusted site that I've been at for over a year, I went to make an order of Masteron, because that's one of my preferred compounds to take is, and they said, well, we're out of that. We're out of Masteron and Primobolan because of the shortage. Which is a good sign, because it shows that they're honest and they're not just going to sell me some bunk shit or some fake Masteron or whatever, right? So if your UGL does that, then that is generally a good sign. So just on a little side note, I was going to plan to do equipoise, because I don't know if equipoise is affected by this, or it's just there's still major stock of it, because it's not as desirable as Primobolan or Masteron. But, I looked at that as a potential alternative. I'll just switch to equipoise. Although again, long story short, I didn't really want to because of the potential side effects involved in equipoise and it being a long ester. So I shopped around and eventually found a Mastron source, and I tested it, and it's legit. So there's still UGLs out there that still carry it. I suspect one of two things. First of all, they might have had a big stock of the raw powders, like they were shipping in kilograms and kilograms of it over the course of years. So they've got a warehouse full of Mastron, and that's going to take a long time to deplete. Second of all, when they first got smell of the of something, a shortage happening, they shopped around themselves and potentially are now sourcing it from other potential underground Chinese companies, which I wouldn't suggest, because that wouldn't be a good idea, because that would be highly illegal and you'd probably disappear. Or other countries like Turkey, Thailand, I don't know, maybe not Thailand producing the raw powders, but India. I'm thinking Turkey, India, and or I don't know, you guys know any of any others, but those are the ones that come to mind. And in some places, there's these compounds are, I believe, like India, are legal. Like you can buy over the counter. If you go to some pharmacies in India, you can buy like Deca, no problem. So that's essentially the gist of what I'm saying. Now, what's going to happen, I believe, is that, you know, the market has been kind of shocked because of this shortage, but it always will adapt. There's going to be an adaptation one way or another, and someone is going to fill in the vacuum. It's a big vacuum that needs to be filled. Somebody's going to do it. Potentially some of these companies, because they were shut down or whatever else, or not producing the chemicals because of the fentanyl and whatever else, they might find another way that they're going to go about doing it. Although, I don't know. Like, I have to look into this more, potentially, that maybe they're trying to just totally shut down the production of steroids in general. So who knows what's going to happen, but I suspect, you know, there's other countries that won't stop, and so we might be doing Indian Mastron soon, which I don't know, maybe as long as it's pure and as long as it gets tested by the Janoschik or Janoschik, because he's a European guy. You know, eventually the market will find reliable sources. The UGLs will find, I believe, reliable sources, and then it'll be just back to where we were before. Maybe it'll be more expensive, who knows, but a little bit. But it's what you gotta do. You gotta pay to play this game, and so I'm on this new source. Just a little side note of the new Mastron, and it's working well. So good stuff is still out there, guys, if you're still looking for it. Okay, I'll leave it there. What are your thoughts on this video? Is there something that I said you think's wrong, or you want to add upon? Because again, it's kind of a speculation right now what the hell is going on, right? And I don't think really anybody truly knows. So I hope this video, you find something informative on this video, and I'll speak to you guys later. Peace.